Ever get the feeling that some people are just like way too driven, like they're totally killing it outwardly, but maybe, I don't know, running from something inside?
I think we all know someone like that.
Right. So that's what we're digging into today. This whole idea that overexertion, it might actually be like a mask for some deeper struggles.
Yeah, fascinating stuff.
And to help us unpack it all, we are diving into the work of Chou Mu-Tzu, this Taiwanese psychologist. He explores this in his book, Overexertion. Every excess is proof of hurt.
And what's so cool about Chou Mu-Tzu is he's not just a psychologist, he's also a musician.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so he's got this dual perspective, which is so insightful. I mean, it allows him to approach these, complex emotional states with a depth and understanding that you just don't see every day.
Oh, I love that. Someone who gets the human experience from, like, both the clinical AD, the creative side, that's got to be useful for this kind of work.
Absolutely.
So how does this play out in his book? Does he have examples?
Oh, yeah. He uses these really vivid case studies to illustrate everything, and they totally draw you in.
Like what?
Well, take the shopping princess. On the surface, she's got it all, right? Designer everything, living the life, but...
There's always a but.
Right, peel back the layers, and it turns out her shopping sprees, they're endless. They stem from this deep need for control that she just can't find anywhere else.
Wow. That's kind of sad when you think about it. So it's
Yeah.
like she's trying to fill a void with all this stuff, right?
Exactly. Chou argues that for a lot of these overexerters, the behavior itself, like the shopping, it's a way of coping.
Like a coping mechanism.
Yeah.
So in the shopping princess's case, those moments of satisfaction when she buys something new, they're just a temporary escape.
Totally. It's a temporary escape from this deeper sense of powerlessness that likely comes from, her past experiences.
Okay, that makes sense. So we've got this woman desperately seeking control through, well, basically through buying things.
Right.
And then you have someone like Mr. Must-Win, this high-powered executive. You know the type. Thrives on pressure, works crazy hours, but then, bam, debilitating panic attacks.
Yeah, Mr. Must-Win. His case is really interesting. It's where those insights that Chou has about past experiences and how they manifest in our present behavior, it gets really fascinating.
You're going to have to unpack that one for me.
Sure. So with Mr. Must-Win, it comes out that he had a brother, older brother, who died young. Yeah, and it's one of those things that was never really dealt with in the family, like swept under the rug.
Oh, I hate when that happens.
Yeah, so there was this atmosphere of secrecy and unspoken grief that he kind of grew up with.
That's got to be tough.
It is, and Chow's theory is that this experience, this early loss, it could be fueling that need to constantly prove himself.
Oh, like he's trying to outrun something.
Exactly, almost like he's outrunning death itself.
Man, that is heavy stuff. So we've got the shopping princess seeking control. We've got Mr. Must-Win trying to outrun his past. Who else we got?
Well, there is Miss Never Makes a Mistake, the queen of perfectionism.
Oh, tell me about it. Who hasn't felt that pressure to be perfect,
Totally. But for her, it's like next level. It's completely debilitating.
I can only imagine.
And this is where Chow's exploration of shame as a driving force behind overexertion comes into play.
Shame. Okay, now we're getting to the good stuff. Shame.
Okay.
We're getting to the good stuff. So how does shame factor into Mrs. Never Makes a Mistake's overexertion?
Well, Chou believes that deep down, many overexerters carry this feeling of being, not enough.
Not enough, huh?
Yeah, and so for Mrs. Never Makes a Mistake, all that overachieving, it's a way to outrun that feeling, to become indispensable. Like she's got to be above reproach.
Oh, I totally see that. So it's like she's built this whole identity around being flawless, which, let's be honest, is kind of an impossible standard to maintain.
Exactly. And this is where her past comes in, too. Chou reveals that she went through a pretty tough childhood trauma. Her mother actually abandoned the family when she was young.
Oh, wow, that's...
Yeah, so you can see how that fear of abandonment could fuel her need to be perfect. Like, if she's flawless, she can't be left behind, right?
Right, yeah. It's almost heartbreaking when you put it that way. But, it's amazing how Chou connects these, like, seemingly totally different things. The shopping, the crazy work hours, even the need to be perfect. And he shows how it's often rooted in these deeply personal, sometimes even traumatic experiences.
Totally, and that's what makes his work so insightful. It's not just skimming the surface, he's really going deep on the psychology of overexertion. And I think that helps us understand these behaviors not so much as flaws, but as coping mechanisms.
Okay, I like that. So let's say someone's listening to this and something clicks, right?
Yeah.
Maybe they see themselves in one of these stories, or maybe they recognize someone they know. What can they actually do with this information?
That's the million-dollar question, right? I think the first step is just awareness. Just recognizing these patterns in yourself or others, that's huge.
Like the aha moment.
Exactly. Like, wait a minute, my constant need to please everyone at work, maybe that comes from my parents' conditional love growing up.
Wow.
Right. And from there, Chou talks about the importance of self-compassion. We got to be kind to ourselves, recognize that these behaviors, they come from somewhere, often a place of hurt. And it's not about letting ourselves off the hook, but about approaching our struggles with understanding instead of judgment.
That makes a lot of sense. So instead of beating myself up for, say, staying up all night to finish a project, I might ask myself, like, okay, what am I really trying to prove here? And to whom?
Exactly. And that kind of self-reflection, that can be incredibly powerful. Of course, for some people, therapy might be a helpful next step too. Chou emphasizes creating this safe space to explore those painful emotions and start challenging those deep-seated beliefs that are driving the overexertion in the first place.
So it's like instead of just treating the symptoms, the shopping sprees, the crazy work hours, the need for perfection, you're going deeper to address the root cause.
Precisely. It's about unpacking those past experiences and understanding how they've shaped our beliefs about ourselves and the world. And then you can start to rewrite the narrative.
It's like we're finally giving ourselves permission to just be human, flaws and all.
Yeah.
But that's got to be terrifying for some people. I mean, what happens when you strip away the overachieving, the perfectionism, all of that? Who are you without it? That's the core fear, isn't it? That if we let go of these overexertion habits, if we strip away those layers of achievement and perfectionism, there'll be nothing left. But Chou's work suggests that's not the case at all.
Exactly. He believes that by confronting those fears, by embracing our authentic selves, we actually open ourselves up to a much richer, more meaningful life. It's like what we were saying earlier about the shopping princess. Instead of seeking fulfillment through material possessions, imagine her discovering a passion for something like painting or volunteering activities that truly nourish her soul, that allow her to express herself authentically.
So it's about finding genuine fulfillment, not just those quick hits of dopamine that come with a new purchase or a promotion.
Precisely. And for someone like Mr. Must Win, it might mean shifting his focus from external validation to internal satisfaction. Imagine him reconnecting with his family, rediscovering a long-lost hobby, or mentoring younger colleagues. These are pursuits that bring a sense of purpose and connection, a legacy that isn't tied to his career achievements.
So he's not defined by his job title or his bank balance anymore. He's finding meaning in something much deeper.
Exactly. And for Missa Never Makes a Mistake, letting go of that need for perfection might mean finally allowing herself to be vulnerable with others, to ask for help when she needs it, to celebrate her accomplishments without feeling the need to downplay them.
It's like she's learning to silence that inner critic, that voice that tells her she's not good enough, and replacing it with self-acceptance and compassion.
And that's a powerful transformation, and it's a journey that's available to all of us. As Chou reminds us, our worth isn't tied to our achievements, our possessions, or our ability to be perfect. It's in embracing our authentic selves, flaws and all, that we truly find freedom and fulfillment.
So if you're feeling that pull towards overexertion, that need to prove yourself, to please others, or to chase perfection, maybe it's time to ask yourself, what am I really running from? And what would it look like to stop running and simply be? It might just be the most courageous and the most rewarding journey you ever take.